Bulavinaka, namaste, and good evening, Fiji. Welcome to the weekend and to your most favorite night of television. I trust you're having a great night from whatever part of the country you're tuning in from this week. To our viewers on Ndenarau Island, Fiji's tourism capital, hello and welcome to the show. I'm grateful for your company tonight. Now, my guest tonight is undoubtedly Fiji's queen of fashion. She has been at the helm of one of the country's major fashion events, and her career in fashion has given her the opportunity to attend fashion weeks in Los Angeles, New York, and Australia. Most recently, she attended London Fashion Week, where she rubbed shoulders with the likes of Naomi Campbell and Vogue's Anna Wintour. I had the privilege of sitting down with her and chatting about her fashion portfolio, and tonight, for the first time on Jejemon and FBC TV, we meet Ellen Whippy Knight.
Mbola Fiji, my name is Ellen Whippy Knight and I'm the Managing Director of Fiji Fashion Week. Okay, my name is Ellen Whippy Knight. I'm the eldest of 8 children. Luckily, I'm the firstborn and a girl, of course, and my 7 brothers after me. My parents are Saini and Stan Whippy Ritova, and my dad was a very well-known journalist, Stan Ritova, in the days of old. And I live in Sydney now. My last job in Fiji was as a journalist at the Fiji Times. I live in Sydney, Australia now, and I've been running Fiji Fashion Week for the last 10 years. And we're now into our 11th year. So really enjoying it, love Fiji to death, and promote it at every opportunity that I get. Fashion, as you know, is something that most women absolutely love, and it's in every girl and every man as well, to a certain extent. I myself have always sewn my own clothes until I went to live in Australia. But with Fiji Fashion Week, Andy Blake himself was one of the instigators of Fiji Fashion Week. He and my niece, my brother's daughter Donna. And so I came to help her in the first year, which was in 2008, and that was held at the Hilton Hotel. We formed a consortium of sorts after that show. And then from there on, in March 2009, I took over and formalized the concept, set the company up, which is Fashion Week Limited, and then took it to where we actually are today. Well, I really wish I could say I was there for London Fashion Week, but those invitations are extremely difficult to get. And one of the interesting things I learnt when I was there is that the amount of security that they have at Fashion Week, at most of those Fashion Weeks, because of the people who try to get in, freelancers and anybody who wants something to do with fashion. But I was actually there for this Commonwealth Fashion Exchange, which is the exhibition that was put together by an organization called Echo Age, and with the support of the palace. And I understand that Queen Elizabeth herself was one of the people who instigated the program to see what the 52 countries in the Commonwealth were doing when it comes to fashion. So the objective was to get those countries an initial designer to design the garment, and then match them with another country in their region. Like within the Pacific region, we had Hapfelherder with the Vanuatuan artisans. So Happy actually designed the dress, and the Vanuatu team designed all the accessories that went with it, the beading and the shells and all of that. And the main objective of that was to try and introduce sustainability into our future of the fashion industry and in garments. Yes, it is an absolute pleasure and a really huge promotion for Fiji, not just the Fashion Week or Fiji Fashion Week or the fashion industry, but for Fiji in general. Out of 52 countries, to be one of the 8 members of the Commonwealth Fashion Council. So the Commonwealth Fashion Council's mantra is to help with the networking of all the different designers in each of these regions, to help develop businesses, to help increase the skill and artistry in these organizations. for the whole development, because as we know it, fashion's not just about wearing pretty, lovely dresses and walking up and down. It is basically a business, and with the raw talent that we have in Fiji, I mean, you know, the comments I got about Hupfeld's garment just goes to show that people can see talent where it is and recognize it for what it is. And that's what the Commonwealth Fashion Council's about. And honestly, the other thing that I was really surprised by in meeting a lot of the people from those 52 countries, Andy, was the fact that Fashion Week, Fiji Fashion Week, is actually one of the oldest fashion weeks out in all these regions. I thought we'd be, you know, floundering around at the bottom of the heap, but in actual fact, we are outside of the main fashion countries like the top Milan, Paris, London, New York. We're one of the longest fashion weeks of 10 years and now into the 11th. I think that is one of the biggest highlights of my life, honestly, because, you know, everybody talks about her saying that she's the ice maiden, that she doesn't smile, she wears those sunglasses and she sits there and keeps to herself a lot. I had to work out how I was going to break the ice. And so when I saw her standing in the room there, instead of going up to her, I let other people gather around her first, and then I edged in. In fact, it was the Pacific Islanders that went around her first, which is a great thing. So then I got in. And the thing to do in a situation like that is to find a common ground. And the common ground between us was obviously fashion. She had a beautiful Erdam dress on. I asked her about her dress. I also told her a story about how Fiji Fashion Week started and what we do in Fiji and why it's lasted because of the raw talent in this country. I asked her if she would come to Fiji Fashion Week. In actual fact, she said, "Fiji Fashion Week? You have a fashion week?" And I said, "Yes, indeed." So it was a great opportunity to talk about the talent here. And then I asked her, "Would you come to Fiji Fashion Week?" And she asked me the date, and she said, "I will look at it." So I asked if I could give her my business card, and she said yes. I gave her the business card, and she looked at it, she smiled, and she said, "Let me put this in my handbag so that I don't lose it." And that's what she did. When I first came to work on Fiji Fashion Week, after I had taken over from my niece and formalized the company, my father, as I mentioned, Stan Ritorva, who was a journalist here, very well-respected journalist at the Fiji Times and Fiji's first local journalist, he said, "Do you realize that you're going to work in Fiji and what it's going to be like? Have you thought about that?" And I said, "Yes, I'm going to work in Fiji. I'll work and do the things that I have to do." He said, "There is something that happens in Fiji and it's called the tall poppy syndrome." And I know what the tall poppy syndrome is. And basically what the tall poppy syndrome means is if you stand up, you will get shot down. If you try to be different, they will criticize you. You've got to be part of the fold. Unfortunately, that's not the way I was brought up. I was brought up to be the best that I can at whatever it is that I do. And that's always been my mantra. I've heard the critics from day one until today. I have critics. I don't understand why, and it really doesn't matter why, because if I had listened to the critics in year one of Fiji Fashion Week, none of those designers, this fashion industry as you see it today, would not be here today. I have just plowed on. They can say what they want to say. If they can do what I have done for the youth and the designers and the absolute skilled people who had the raw talent to get into it, if they can do that, they are better to direct that criticism into energy to help somebody than criticize the good work that I have done for Fiji. Education is so important. You also must research. You've got to know what your competition is doing. Not that you would copy your competition so that you don't do as your competition. Each designer must set their own trends so people follow you. But the most important thing is don't stop learning. Even though you become an established designer, don't rest on your laurels, because even to this day, as successful as Fiji Fashion Week is, I go to every single conference and workshop that I can do in Sydney or in Melbourne or overseas to learn more about this so that I can bring it back and share it with them. So education is key. A doctor becomes a doctor after 7 years of study. Likewise, the best fashion designers are the ones who've got some formal technical education behind them. Hi, I'm Ellen Whippy, and I'm keeping it Cheche for Jejemon.
Ellen Whippy Knight, fashionista, businesswoman and mother. chatting to me about her recent trip to London Fashion Week and her selection as one of 8 Fashion Council members of the Commonwealth. What an achievement and a great platform for Fiji's fashion industry, and congratulations, Ellen. Time for a short break. Fashion's biggest night concluded in May, and we check out some of my selections of fashion. It's the Met Gala from New York. That's next. See you after the break.